Hard to believe, but we're already to our final guest on this week's program of Travel Michigan. I'm Dave Lorenz, and happy that we're able to talk to our next guest about this big event that comes to Southeast Michigan once every summer, and it certainly is one of those events that if you haven't ever been to, you really owe it to yourself to check it out. We're going to learn about the Woodward Dream Cruise next. Let's bring in Greg Russell. He is president of the Woodward Dream Cruise. Greg, nice to have you with us today.
Glad to be here, Dave.
So you've been president for a while now, and you've been involved with Woodward Dream Cruise for quite a while. How long has this event been going?
Well, this year's our 20th cruise. The first one was in 1995. Wow. And so this is the 20th year of the Dream Cruise, and it's really amazing that it has sustained itself this long.
Well, it's funny. I work with the international audience. So with Travel Michigan, we market in the UK and Ireland, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and now in China. And I can tell you that the Woodward Dream Cruise is one of the few events that people know about from all over the world. I mean, that's how big this event has become and really helped to identify what Michigan is all about. For people who might not know about it, tell us what Woodward Dream Cruise is.
Well, sure. We bill it as the largest free one-day car show. It stretches over 16 miles from 8 Mile all the way up to the Loop up in Pontiac. And that day, people from all across the world gather, predominantly from southeastern Michigan, but as you said, it's an international event. We get people coming from Australia with GTOs and Canada and even parts of Europe bring their car over and cruise up and down Woodward. It is you will see just about everything that's been put on a set of wheels from a bathtub or a Model T all the way up to the new cars of today. It's truly amazing, and it just shows how important the automobile is to Southeast Michigan, and the history of the automobile is really on display that day. And it's a living history that day, because so many of the times we get the opportunity to go to a lot of museums and see these vehicles in a static position, all shined and polished and that kind of stuff, like, don't touch. But on this day, they actually get out there and you see the vehicles moving and working just as they were in their heyday.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think also, though, that this event, the Woodward Dream Cruise, coming up on August 16th, also shows how important Southeast Michigan is to the automobile world, not just here, but, hey, Michigan really put America on wheels. It's true. And it's played such an important role in the automotive industry worldwide that it's kind of nice to see that all showcased in one day.
Oh, absolutely. And we have, it's like I say, it's a great event. We're really thrilled that Chevrolet is part of it, again, this year as our presenting sponsor. And, it just brings the community together in Southeast Michigan. It's amazing. It's just like a 16-mile block party where friends and neighbors come out and people park their classic cars on the street or gather at certain locations to watch the event, and they reminisce about what they've done with their classic car this past year, what they fixed up, what they added, how they modified it to keep it going, and that kind of thing. So it really does create a huge sense of community as well for the region.
Well, this is billed as the world's largest one-day automobile event. You think about that. That's pretty awesome to think that it happens right here. Biggest one-day event of its kind. And people in Michigan, I think, are pretty familiar with cruises and how cruising goes. But in this case, this is just like cruising times 1,000. So how do you manage that as a participant and as a spectator? I mean, what do you do to make sure you're kind of in the flow and taking part of things to the best opportunity as you can?
Well, sure. There are a lot of classic car shows up and down the avenue. I recommend that people pick a half-mile road or a mile road, find a place to park, and get out and walk a half mile in each direction, and take advantage of all the vendor displays and the like that you see up and down up and down Woodward, buy a hot dog or one of the other foodstuffs that are plentiful up and down the route, and then enjoy it and visit with people who have their classic car and that kind of stuff, because it's a better chance to interact than riding on Woodward. But when you do get out on Woodward and want to cruise the 16 miles, we ask that if you're in a classic car, you stay in the right-hand lane, and if you happen to be in a non-classic car, stay in that left-hand lane so that the classic cars can be seen along the curb line by everybody who's just sitting there that day enjoying the view.
I actually got in accident. I got involved in a car cruise one time up in St. Ignace, and just happened to get in the middle of this parade of cars with my, caravan, van at the time. I thought, how do you get out of this thing once you get into it? I ended up just started waving to everybody and just figuring, hey, I'm part of it, might as well enjoy it.
Absolutely, that is exactly what happens. And so if you're not in a classic car that day, let the classics have the run of the mill and pick a place to park and get out and walk up and down Woodward a bit and hopscotch to another mile and see what it looks like there.
Now, do the classic cars, do they actually, do the people who own them actually register in advance in any way? So do you know, any idea how many cars to expect every year?
No, not for the cruise as a whole, because there are so many locations, like at Memorial Park at 13 Mile and Woodward and Royal Oak. We'll be having a car show there where we're going to have somewhere between 400 and 500 classic cars, covering the broad spectrum. And then a lot of private businesses up and down Woodward also bring in and rent out the classic car clubs, some of the various like there may be a Bel Air club at one particular lot. So a lot of these people come back to the same places year after year because they set up a working relationship with a parking lot owner or that kind of stuff. But a lot of times it varies from year to year, and you never know what's going to pop up. Now,
are there any tips on being a spectator and finding a place to park, or is it just find a place and make the best of it?
Well, like I said, most of the cities have parking. Pontiac has parking, I believe, up at their loop where they sell public parking. Royal Oak has several lots available, a block or so off of Woodward where you can park and walk over and enjoy the festivities. But unless you've got a particular spot like that, it's pretty much pick your way in, find a place to park, and get out and walk if you're not in a classic car. That's our biggest thing, because it is about the classic cars that day.
Yeah. Well, your website is woodwarddreamcruise.com, and if you go there in advance, will you be able to find out where some of these kind of special affinity groups might be located? Like, let's say you were into maybe Bel Airs or something like that?
Some of the groups are posted, especially in the chatter at the end, because people comment and say where they're going to be at and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So that's the best location for that. But the beauty of this event is there's still a good deal of spontaneity to it, which is really the incredible part, because this is sort of like a free event, and it's still a little freestyle, and it's a remarkably well-behaved event, and we encourage everybody to come out and obey the traffic laws and have a good, safe cruise.
Well, I've had so many of my friends tell me how much they've enjoyed going. My son goes every year, and they just have a great time. So it's coming up August 16th, the Woodward Dream Cruise. I'm hoping to be there this year myself, so I hope I can take part in it, and really highly recommend you do. Everybody who's been there has told me it's just a great time with 1.5 million of your good friends and about 40,000 classic cars. So check it out. Find more information at woodwarddreamcruise.com. I want to thank Greg Russell, the president of the Woodward Dream Cruise, for filling us in and all that today. Well, that's all the time we have for Travel Michigan today. We'd like to thank Mark Blackwell for engineering today's program, and especially we'd like to thank you for joining us today, and we invite you to join us next week on Travel Michigan, where your trip begins at Michigan.org.